Hello everyone, this is part 2 of diseases and immunity. Let's talk about the immune response. Lymphocytes are white blood cells that produce antibodies, which are basically Y-shaped protein molecules, and their shape is complementary to the shape of a particular antigen. They show specificity. Antigens are chemicals that are recognized by the body as being foreign, which means that they are not part of the body's normal set of chemical substances. They are the chemicals that stimulate the immune response, which is basically the production of specific antibodies. Many antigens are found on the outside of a pathogen. When a pathogen enters the body, one of the lymphocytes recognizes it as being something that its antibody can destroy. A particular lymphocyte starts to make copies of itself rapidly. Enough lymphocytes are made to produce a sufficient amount of antibodies to kill the pathogen. The reaction of the body to the presence of an antigen is the immune response. How does a particular antibody destroy a pathogen? Firstly, the antibody molecules bind with the antigen because their shapes are complementary to each other. This can either kill the pathogen directly or the antigens will stick the pathogens together. This stops the pathogens from dividing or moving and makes it easier for the phagocytes, which are another form of WBCs, to engulf them by phagocytosis. This is a lymphocyte which has come into contact with the antigen of the particular pathogen. Shape of the antigen is complementary to the shape of the antibody that this lymphocyte can produce. This causes the lymphocyte to divide rapidly, making multiple copies of itself by mitosis, so that sufficient antibodies can be produced. The copies are exactly identical to the parent lymphocyte. It then produces antibodies that will bind with the antigen, which either destroys the pathogen directly or makes it easier for phagocytes to engulf it. Memory cells are those long-lived cells produced by the division of lymphocytes that have contacted their antigen. They are able to respond quickly to any further contact with the same antigen. Since the lymphocyte made copies of itself in the first infection, all the copies did not have to produce antibodies because even before that the pathogen had been destroyed. These lymphocytes remain in the blood for a very long time. If then the same kind of pathogen entered the body in the second infection, these memory cells were quickly able to identify it and make enough antibodies to kill the pathogen before it could have caused any great harm. So in the first infection, we can see the blue graph suggests the number of pathogens and the red graph suggests the number of antibodies. The immune response took time to take place because the lymphocyte had to first recognize the particular antigen, then create clones and produce enough antibodies to decrease the population of the pathogen. During this time, the pathogen was able to reproduce to form large populations, produce toxins, and cause the infected person to show many symptoms. However, due to these memory cells in the second infection, we can see that the number of antibodies produced in a given time is much higher. So the population could not have grown to large numbers. It remained small. A lot of symptoms were not seen in this second infection. We can say that the person had become immune to that particular pathogen. A vaccine is a harmless preparation of dead or inactivated pathogens that is injected into the body to produce an immune response. Vaccine helps immunize people against transmissible diseases. When the weakened pathogen is introduced into the body, an immune response is generated just as in a real infection. This also leads to the production of memory cells to provide long-term immunity, because to destroy the weakened pathogen, not a lot of antibodies were needed, which means that many clones would have remained in the body. Some pathogens require 2 vaccinations, provide more antibodies, and so a greater amount of memory cells can be produced to provide a complete foolproof protection. This protection can also be termed as immunity and is divided into active immunity and passive immunity. Active immunity is basically the long-term defense against a pathogen. Passive immunity is a short-term defense against a pathogen. Active immunity, the organism has to make antibodies on their own. However, in passive immunity, they acquire antibodies which are made by another organism. Active immunity requires the formation of memory cells. In passive immunity, no memory cells are produced. To achieve active immunity, you may have a disease and then recover from it, or you may be vaccinated. To achieve passive immunity, breast milk, which is made by the mother, ingested by the baby, contains many antibodies to all the pathogens to which the mother is immune. This gives a short-term immunity to the baby until its immune system is fully developed. You can also achieve passive immunity by getting an injection of antibodies that were made by a different organism. For example, the rabies vaccine contains the antibodies that will be required to kill the rabies pathogen because there is limited time in which the infected person can be saved. Controlling diseases is a very important part of our civilization. Throughout history, we have completely eradicated a few of the most dangerous diseases. For example, smallpox, which is caused by a virus in which the infected person are left with badly scarred skin and may even become blind in extreme cases, eradicated with the help of the World Health Organization in 1980. Systems had been set up to vaccinate as many people as possible. There was serious focus given in vaccinating the children. Another disease like measles has to be eradicated in today's time. It spreads by airborne droplets and causes a fever, rashes, and even brain damage and blindness. Polio, which is caused by a virus, can leave children with permanent paralysis. It is now rare but has not been completely eliminated. These two dangerous diseases can only be tackled when our world population achieves herd immunity, which is a state when enough individuals are vaccinated that the entire population, including the unvaccinated individuals, are protected by the disease because the pathogen does not have many places to replicate. Now let's talk about COVID-19, name which you would have heard for sure. It is a disease caused by virus, also known as the coronavirus, which is spherical and has protein spikes that stick out of it. These spikes help it attach to human cells. The coronavirus that causes COVID-19 was named SARS-CoV-2, and it can spread from one host to another by droplets and can even remain on surfaces. This transmission is very easy for a SARS-CoV-2. Even an asymptomatic person can pass this virus on to others. Mostly it causes mild symptoms but can affect lungs badly. During the COVID-19 pandemic, tests had to be developed. Those that were infected were told to stay isolated for 14 days. All people had to wear masks in public places, and complete lockdowns had been announced by most countries. All these measures helped in reducing the spread and the severity of the COVID-19 virus. Thank you.